Welcome to the Aviation Marketing Masterclass. Today we're talking about images, photos, and video. And we're going to be getting started in just a minute here. Looks like everything is working. All right, we're smoking right along. This is wonderful. Okay, so we're glad you joined us today. Images, photo, and video are all becoming more important, I think we all agree, as technology gets better and everything gets better. People's expectations have changed, and all kinds of things have come in line with that, as your competitors are undoubtedly using more photos and video and everything else. So we want to make sure that you're up to speed on that. So I'm Paula Williams.
And I'm John Williams.
And we are ABCI, and ABCI's mission is?
Well, we try to put things together and help you put marketing plans together such that you can make more sales and stuff and products and services.
Right. So ABCI's mission is to help aviation companies sell more of their products and services. And we're really happy to have on the discussion today, a panel discussion with Genaro Sanchez, Director of Marketing and Communications at Qatar Aviation. And Genaro, we're really happy to have you here. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you do there.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me. My mission here in Qatar Aviation as a Director of Marketing and Communications, I take care of all aspects of our communications, from website design, video production, photography, email blast, print media, trade shows. So I'm pretty much in charge of everything that we do here in Qatar Aviation. I help all of our offices. We have 8 offices. So I'm in charge of the communications for all of them. Also, I work with all different aspects of our company, which we divide them in 4 main aspects, which is sales, aircraft sales, FBO, which is airports, maintenance and avionics, and also charter flights.
Right. Great, and that is a huge responsibility as far as geography and breadth of things that you need to do. We've had Mike Lipsey on the program before, and he is in Hawaii right now, I understand. Is that right?
Yes, he is. I mean, somebody has to do the hard work here.
Exactly.
That's right.
And you are, yeah, this is, I think, your first time on a panel discussion, but we're really glad to have you. So thank you for joining us. And Scott Slocum, also your first time. Scott's the owner of Aero Marketing Group. And Scott, maybe you can explain the parent company and the brands that you manage with that.
Sure. Aero Marketing Group is an aviation visual communications company. Underneath that parent company, we have Aero Media, which produces film, video, photography content for marketing and aviation. We specialize in aerial photography. And then we also have the brand called mybombshells.com, which is a promotional brand in which we sell calendars. We do classic pinup with aircraft. And the brand has been primarily used to help promote and help other people promote their brands in association with what we're doing.
Excellent. Great. Well, I think we're probably the most familiar with the Bombshells calendars, which is how we met you to begin with. So we love those. Those are really fantastic, and very much in the very much in demand, I'm sure. So.
Yes, we've been doing it for almost 10 years now. It's hard to believe it. It's growing every year, and we're having a lot of fun with it, and it's benefiting people like EAA Warbirds, for example, where we will wholesale to them, and then they'll sell it to help raise money for what they're doing. We also support several other museums with the product, because one of the missions with that product is to bring awareness to warbirds and bring awareness to aviation and keeping these aircraft flying and getting new people involved with it.
Absolutely. Right. And actually, we do have a couple of clients that weirdly, coincidentally, we've had a lot of weird coincidences this month, have had some connection with warbirds in one way or another with their marketing. Either they're sponsoring or participating with warbirds in some way. So that would be really fun to hear more about.
Sure.
Right. So, the first thing I wanted to, I think the most important point that we can make today really is that aviation consumers, B2B and B2C, are very visually oriented, and I'm sure you guys would both agree with that. You
Absolutely.
can go ahead and agree with that. Exactly. Let me put words in your mouth and tell me that you will agree with that. Yeah, and Honoro, I'm sure even from your perspective, where you're running, sales and marketing as well from an organization, it is incredibly important to grab people's attention with that. So.
That's correct. Especially the tendencies they change.
Right.
Or people will go and pick up probably a magazine to look up aircraft for sale. Now they just go online. So now people, they make more informed decisions on their purchases. I mean, we all do it. If we want to buy a TV, the first thing that we do is, you know what? I'm just going to go online and do my research because I want to know what is going to be best for me. So the same way works with the aircraft sales. People go online and they do the research. They want to see pictures. They want to see videos. And some people are going to be very information inclined, so they're going to look for, they want to read. There's some other people that they are just gonna, they just want to see the pictures. Mm-hmm. There's some other people that are going to say, you know what, I want to see a video because I am visual, but I also would like to hear their pitch. So the more that the more you can provide different avenues for your customer to see your products, the best chance you're going to have. And competition is fierce, and there's people that are doing a phenomenal job out there showcasing their products too. So you need to be up to par and have very good visual support for whatever you're selling. Not only aircraft. I mean, I'm talking about aircraft because of what we do, but in any industry, you need to be very visually appealing so you can be a good competitor.
That's absolutely true. Right. And, I think we consider a brand to be, kind of a visual shorthand of, what you expect from a company. But it's more than just a logo. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind for people. But it also includes a whole bunch of other things, including photographs and videos, of course. But all of those things can add up to a visual impression, that people get. And I think, in aviation, people are pilots or mechanics. They tend to collect a lot of information in a very short amount of time, and they may not even be able to express how they're forming their opinions or how they're making their decisions. But it's made up of a lot of visual input. So, this is something that I know you guys both have worked with quite a bit. In terms of branding, and maybe if there's one or two of these that you'd like to comment about or let me know which you think is maybe the most underutilized of these elements of brand.
Well, before you go into that, from a customer's perspective,
John's always our resident customer.
Well, when I'm flying around and go into a facility, an FBO, you get used to one, and then you go into the next one, and it's the same brand. You physically relax and say, okay, I got it. I know what I can expect from these guys. They're great. Mm-hmm. And all the stuff you see in that list, laundry list of stuff there, all adds up to that feeling of, I'm here now.
Mm-hmm.
You're at home.
Yes, mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right, exactly. And Scott, I know you do a lot of work with people to create this kind of an image or this kind of a feeling. And so, there's a lot of detail that I think people don't realize goes into every photo or every video. Even what the floor is, whether the floor is shiny or not. There's a million things that go into every decision.
Absolutely. Since we're talking about video and photography, especially, I really believe you need to invest in the quality of that. Even if you're using a cell phone to take pictures, because that's all your budget will allow, make sure you know how to take, or somebody knows how to take, a good cell phone shot. Okay. So it doesn't look like a snapshot, doesn't look like it was halfway done. I obviously, being in the business, would recommend that you hire professionals when you're dealing with airplanes around airports. But the main thing I'm trying to get across here is that it does need to look professional. It needs to look like you've invested in as much in your brand as what the people who are flying these airplanes, whether it's a Gulfstream 6 or a Cessna 152, that they feel like you're going to take care of them and that you care as much about your business that they want you to care about their aircraft, as an example.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just really a demonstration of that level of care and that attention to detail that people in aviation really expect from a company. So you really need to make sure that that works.
And then one of the, real quick, I know you go to the next slide, but one of the most important things I tell people from a marketing standpoint is get your tagline down first. If you can't explain to somebody in an elevator in less than 10 seconds what your business is about and why somebody should use you, then you need to work on that before you do anything else, because everything else molds around whatever that tagline is.
Absolutely. Right. We actually had a workshop where we did 15-second sales presentations, fairly recently, and that was a really fun one, but it was also really shocking to us to find out how many people did not have a great 15-second sales presentation that just rolled off their tongue, and that tagline really falls out of that. What is the most important thing that you can say in that first impression? So.
Yep.
Yeah. So Genaro, if we could start with Qatar Aviation, I just pulled up a few things from the Qatar website, and just some of the things that really stood out to me. Here we've got some images on your website, and we also have a chat window that pulled up, and you have great pictures of people on the Qatar website all over the place, and that's something that I think is kind of unusual, but I really like it. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you do that and why you do that.
Sure. Well, the reason is because we want to have a human element to our advertising. It is really nice when you see people's faces, and then you go to a place, and then you're, hey, you know what? I saw you on the website. I was looking for information, and I saw you there. And hi, my name is so and so. So it gives you a more familiar experience. More warm to your company. Now, this is fairly new feature on our website, the web chat. This has been a very successful experience. We are always trying different and new ways to get leads to our website and to our marketing efforts, and this has been really successful. What this has done, it has increased our conversion ratio dramatically. Before, we were getting a lot of visits to our website, and they were just getting to our website and just leaving the website. They were not leaving their information. They were not asking for more information. They were not filling out our contact forms. Probably they were calling us. I'm not saying that they weren't getting what they needed from the website, but there was no interaction with us. Right. Now, with this live chat, every time that you go to our website, it's going to pop up. It's going to ask you if you need some help. And depending on the area of the website that you are on, it's going to ask you, are you interested on an aircraft? Are you looking to book a flight with us, etc. So it's going to be a little tailored to different areas of our website. And what this has done is that it has increased the number of leads tremendously, because people feel, if somebody is approaching you, they say, you know what, yes, I need help booking a flight. How much is it to fly from here to there? Or, you know what, we are flying into Qatar next week. We're going to need to rent a car. Can you help us with that? So this has helped us with our conversion ratio. And what we do is every lead that we get from the web chat, it gets logged in our database, so we can later on talk to these people. So that has helped a lot.
Excellent. I have actually seen those a lot on the web, especially in the last probably 8 months to a year. But what I have not seen is that this is Megan, and she wants to help me, and I can see her face. And somehow that you know, when that pops up, it makes me smile. Instead of just dismissing this as spam, I go, there's someone at Cutter, and this might be somebody that I know that wants to talk to me, then of course I'm going to respond differently than if this is a robot. So
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
it repositioned the whole customer service from automatic to personal, just by adding that photo and probably the name as well. Great. So anything else, you know, other things about the website that I really love, and about all of your branding is your logo is everywhere, and it's got that forward motion, you know, from those arrows, and then you carry that through on the buttons and other things. You know, the bullets on your website and things always have that forward motion, which, you know, kind of shows you Cutter gets you on your way.
Right.
And so was that and I know Cutter's had that logo for a really long time, but I don't know if that's something that you talk about on a regular basis, or if you redesign that or freshen that occasionally, or?
The logo was redesigned not too long ago. It was redesigned before I started working here at Cutter. Before it had an arrow. It was an arrow that was going through the name.
Right.
You remember that this company started more than 85 years ago in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So it has a Southwest flavor to it. So it had an arrow before, and then it evolved into a modern arrow, which is the use of the chevrons that we have now. Branding is one of my favorite things. I really like branding. I like to see our logo everywhere. I like to see our colors everywhere. It creates an identity. It creates a sense of belonging. It's an imprint in people's mind. They'll see red, they'll see the chevrons, they'll associate it with Cutter if we have done our job correctly. So we try to carry those trademarks across all of what we do. If it's going to be a tent for outdoor event, the tent is going to be red, and it might have a variation of the logo. The logo might be white on red, but still it's going to be the logo exactly as you see it everywhere else. So we try to carry our brand exactly the way it is with everything we do. If it's print, if it's email blast, if it's going to be something online, everything's going to look exactly the same.
Fantastic. And also, whenever we see the Cutter guys at any event, they always have the cowboy hats, the white shirts, and the black jeans, or, you know, some variation of that, which is a great photo opportunity, you know, for one thing. And also, it carries your branding from your booth to the bar to wherever your guys go.
It is funny because we thought about doing the cowboy thing because we are located in the Southwest. So we said, you know what is appropriate for Southwest? We said, well, we might be cowboys. So we started doing that a couple of years ago, and we started wearing boots. And then from the boots, it evolved to, okay, let's wear boots and a cowboy jacket, and let's have our hats on. So every time that we go to events, they are expecting to see the Cutter Cowboys.
Right.
So it has become like a trademark of us.
Exactly. Right. And, you know, that's another thing that is just absolutely amazing about you guys. Another thing that I don't know how serendipitous this was or if this was planned, but the Honda logo is also red. You guys have a joint marketing effort going on with the Honda Jet, and you know, your branding seems to mesh really, really well. So of course I have to ask, you know, was that intentional, and how did you pull that off?
Well, no, it was serendipity. You know, the stars aligned, and the thing is that we are Honda Jet dealers in the Southwest.
Right.
We sell the Honda Jet, so we have a close relationship with Honda, and we said, okay, we came up with this promotion, and what we're trying to do with this promotion is to increase the upload of fuel with our customers. So whenever a customer comes to us, we'll ask them if they want to upgrade. I mean, if they are just putting 80 gallons of fuel in their airplane, we'll ask them, okay, would you like to go to 100 and get an opportunity to win one of these great prizes that we are giving away every month? So we say, okay, who's the best partner for this? Let's go with Honda. We have a close relationship with them. We are a Honda Jet dealer, so we are it is a cross promotion. It helps us to increase fuel sales. It helps us for brand awareness with the Honda Jet, and then we have really nice prices through Honda. So everything lined up and worked out very well. It has been a very successful campaign. It also gives us the opportunity to go and knock on doors and talk to people and say, hey, we are doing this. Well, would you like to participate?
Right.
Well, I mean, if you have not been to Qatar lately, give us a try. We have this going on, and then we enter them to win, and we also increase the number of records in our database. So it works very well in many different ways.
Excellent. Great. And yeah, so I think that's a wonderful thing. And then another thing, you look at your Twitter account or anything else, also you use some verbal branding, energetic and knowledgeable, are the two things that I think people notice about your folks. But the way that you present visually, you've got a lot of photos and videos even on Twitter, and I didn't pull those up, but that's also an interesting thing. One thing we've recommended to our customers is to look at your partners' branding. So that kind of goes back to that Honda Jet. You also have the TBM 900 and the Piper, as your partners. Since you're going to be displaying those logos together and you want people to kind of connect those in your mind, what can you borrow as far as colors, fonts, elements, visual things from your partners? If you're working with MD Helicopters, you may want to use, the big square blocky print, other kinds of things that kind of kick those triggers in people's minds and think, these guys are associated with those guys, maybe not consciously, but subconsciously.
Exactly, and these are very well recognized brands in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
So when they see, we're very careful also on how we utilize their brand, because there are guidelines for logo utilization. So we are very, very careful about that. We also send most of the stuff that we do through the right channels, so they can take a look at them and make sure that everything is up to par with their guidelines. But I think that the association with these recognized brands, and that they have so much power, that it also helps our brands. And we're really proud that they are okay of being associated with us as well.
Right. And then another visual element to this, the map, I think, is a great image, that shows people oriented in space. Here is where Qatar does business. And you can say that in words, but it doesn't hit the same spot in your brain.
It also helps a lot for branding.
Mm-hmm.
We use the same map in different forms, but it's exactly the same map. Sometimes we use some states, depending what we're talking about. Here, it's showing all of our locations. Now, some of those locations are FBO, full service. Some others are just sales office. So some others are just maintenance and sales. So each location has different services. So depending on what we're doing, we will either show the map with all the states in all the locations, or probably you're just going to show 3 states and 2 locations or things like that. Depends on what we're doing. But the fact of the matter is that it's always the same image. If you have seen the full map, you're going to recognize it if we just use one state. Let's say we're just talking about Texas and our 3 locations there. The map is just going to be about the state of Texas, but it's going to look exactly the same. So that carries on our brand as well throughout all of our products.
Fantastic. And then one last slide for Qatar here. You have a staff directory that is more extensive, I think, than any I've seen on the web, with rare exceptions. You do a full biography, contact information, and a nice portrait of each of your folks. And I think that just shows a lot of investment in your staff. You obviously can't do that if you have a huge turnover. And some of our clients are reluctant to do this for any number of reasons. But what's been your experience with doing that, and how does that work for you?
Well, I think that you brought up a very good point about it. We have employees here that they have been with the company for more than 40 years. So our turnover on the key positions, it's it's really low. I mean, we don't have turnover. People like working for Qatar, so yes, we can invest in them and create these nice pages with all their information. Something else that is unique, and I also noticed this when I started working for Qatar, is that we have all the information available for people to contact you. I mean, we have phone numbers, we have fax number, we have email addresses, and full bio. There's a lot of companies out there that for some reason they don't want to share the information or their contact numbers of their employees, which I think it is a mistake. We are really open to this, and we have an open channel of communication with whoever wants to talk to us.
Right, exactly. So as part of your, and maybe you don't have a process for this because you don't hire very often because people don't, you're not running people through the mill like a lot of places do. But is it part of your onboarding process to get pictures taken, do that kind of thing? Do you do group pictures as part of your events? How do you herd people into into getting that done?
Right. It is a process. It is a process. What we try to do is to get as much information as we can from the employee before they start. There's a couple of reasons for that. I mean, I need to create these pages to put them on the website. But we're proud of the people that we hire. We're proud for them joining our company, so we want to share it with the world. So what we do is not only put them up on the website, but also we send press releases about our new key positions that we hire. This obviously helps us to get our brand recognition out there because it's free advertising. If somebody from the media picks up the article, they write a little note about it, and it gets broadcasted to more people. So it helps us a lot. So what we do is, like I said, prior of them starting with the company, we get their bio, we get it ready, and we take their picture when they are here, when they accept the offer. So we have a setup here to take their picture. So we have everything ready by the time that they start.
Excellent. And so that's just part of your culture, that everybody there seems to be very open, transparent, and friendly, and if they are not, they wouldn't be working for Qatar.
Exactly. If they don't fit our profile, they don't get hired.
Right. Excellent. So, if I were to quickly summarize, just a couple of key points that people can take away from Qatar, that you could do better in your business, or a lot of people could do better in their business, we could do better in ours, those would be, 1, use pictures of people everywhere. 2, use those images consistently. 3, consider your partners and in your branding, and consider how you're going to visually represent that partnership. And was there anything else that I missed? As far as just the real.
I think the only thing that I would add to that is, just remember that different people understand information in different ways. Some people would like to receive information via email. Some others will get a text message. Some others would like to be called. So you just need to tailor your communication to those different avenues and try to reach as many people as you can.
Absolutely. Great. So, we'll come back to you with some more questions, I'm sure. And let's, we've got one more, I'm sorry, the videos. I did want to ask about this. The videos that you guys use on YouTube and other places all look like Qatar videos. And you've got a couple of elements here that make that happen. One is you've got the logo in the upper left, and you also have the subtitles and things, the little notations across the bottom are in red, using the branding and the forward arrows, which looks really good. But anything you want to mention about videos, or any suggestions for people when they do those?
Well, videos are great for a couple of reasons. We have talked that people understand communication different ways. So if you are a video kind of guy, we have something for you too.
Yeah.
Right. So that videos also help your search engine optimization. Like we talk as we talked before, people like to make informed decisions. So videos are a great way to do an extensive presentation utilizing video elements, probably still photography. We also use some time lapses, voiceovers, etc. So videos are an amazing tool to showcase any kind of product or service that you might have. Right now, we are producing videos to showcase our aircraft. So, we're creating like 3-minute videos, and we have different shots of the aircraft, combined with some still photography, voiceovers, and information on the screen. So, if you go to our page and you see an airplane that you like, you might be, miles away from here, but you can still see the video and take a look at the aircraft to see if it's worth your time contacting us and calling us, or even flying to see it.
Right.
Videos have been a very, very good tool for us.
Exactly. So really big credibility builder as well for those hugely visual people. So to kind of continue the discussion on videos, Scott, this is kind of your wheelhouse as far as one of the main things that that people know you for is the great video.
Yes, we started doing video about 3 years ago because we were getting so much access to vintage aircraft and rare aircraft and opportunities, and we started to get requests for it. So we realized the technology of the video cameras is getting better. In fact, it's starting to compete more with the still camera in the way that you can even pull stills off video now. So we've now incorporated that in most of our shooting and offered as a full service, anywhere from storyboarding all the way through final edit. And it's worked really well. It's probably about 50% of our business now. And like Mr. Sanchez said, the videos, even what we're doing for aircraft sales, chartering companies, where we're highlighting their aircraft inside and out, and using beautiful photography and information on those videos to really educate people in a short period of time of what they're getting.
Right, and I think we've encouraged people to take more video, even if they're doing it themselves. But the video that we're talking about here, maybe you could just list the types of video that you do. I know you do air-to-air, you do on the ground, and so on. But lots of things that people shouldn't try at home.
Well, yeah. I mean, air-to-air is a whole other conversation. But as long as you understand how to edit it properly and to use the right music or sound, and keep it short. That's a key thing I always tell people. Don't, I noticed on the cutter videos, they're usually about 1.5 to 3 minutes, and that's perfect. You go any longer than that, people lose interest in it, But Aero Media Group, we do anything from what we call high res or high definition, all the way up to broadcast quality 8K video, which you would see in a mainstream TV commercial or movie. And it's all a matter of the equipment and know how to use that equipment, and then using your creativity to get the most out of it, basically.
Right, so you need to actually think this through in order to tell a story or get across the point that you need to in 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes.
And that's right. In fact, I encourage people that when we're approached about a video is let's work out a script first. So then from a script we can work on a storyboard, and then from the storyboard we have a shot list, and then we can go out and then efficiently and effectively shoot what needs to be done to tell the story properly.
Exactly. And then also, even with the videos, you are looking at this, you can tell with a photographer's eye, you're lighting these and framing these, and you're not just recording what's going on, you're actually creating what's going on in order to make it what you need it to be. Right,
and we approach it just like the movie industry does, in that once you have your shot list, then you can set up your your cameras and your angles and go for the lighting you need to make that shot the best it can be.
Excellent.
And you know, when you see, if you look at our page, there's obviously a lot of shots on there that we call it clips. People call us all the time and say, hey, do you have a clip of a P-51 or do you have a clip of a Hawker or something like that we sell? But also there's examples like what we were approached by an air show last year to produce a video, and they wanted something that was appealing to the general public more than the aviation enthusiasts. So we came up with shots ahead of time that we wanted to get so that we could attract that audience, and as of today it's got over 2 million views.
Wow, that is amazing. You know, another thing I guess that people ask us about is, you know, of course there's stock photography. You know, is there, and I guess you just answered that, such a thing as stock video?
There is. People can go on, for example, our site and type in, hey, do you have any footage of this aircraft? And then we'll answer back whether we do or not. And then if we don't, we'll answer back, well, but we can get some too, and quote them a price on that. But that library is growing rapidly, actually, and we're getting more and more requests for video.
Right. Let me just add, you know, when you use stock photography or stock video or anything else, you know, we very highly suggest that you document where you got it, just so that there are no issues with that in the future. You know, when you use stock photography, and Scott, I'm sure you probably have some things to say about that as well.
Well, yeah, it's really important that you understand the rules of the source that you got it. It happens, unfortunately, all the time where it's just grabbed off the internet and used. But normally when you're buying from a stock house, they have rules of how you can use that and how much you can use it. And then so you need to follow those guidelines. Most of them don't really talk about having to credit them. But that being said, if you use a photographer's work, please make sure you have their permission and that, you know, it's the proper credit and the proper outline of how they've agreed with you to use those images or that video.
Exactly, and then that way that, you know, and especially when you're using a photographer like Scott, you want to credit the image because you want his name associated with your company, just as we talked about those partnerships before. You know, partnerships in aviation are everything. So, you know, you really want to be a good neighbor and be a good partner as well. Right, so any reason for the use of Vimeo as opposed to YouTube, as opposed to anything else for your videos?
Well, the video is not as much of a social media tool, although we do link to it sometimes, as it is a showcase tool for us.
Okay.
And Vimeo offers some options as well, to where I can put a video up, for example, and if you want to use that video, I can then give you a password to download that video in a higher quality than YouTube can do that.
Okay. So that's the reason for that. We do a social media survey of aviation professionals every year, and you know, our usual advice to people is you want to be using the social media that your competitors and your, more importantly, your top 10 most desired customers are using. And if your top 10 most desired customers aren't on a particular social media, that may not be one that you want to spend the time on, unless, and like in this case, where you have a specific reason that does what you need it to do.
Yeah, and actually most of my competitors are now on Vimeo because the codecs that it uses to download the videos are higher quality than YouTube. You don't have the commercial, how can I put it, the noise that that YouTube has. So it just has a much more professional look and feel, and so if somebody's looking for that type of service, I think they like to see it on Vimeo better than YouTube.
Yeah, that was a well-said noise, Steve. I got that loud and clear, and I understand that. I'm glad you told me that.
Right, that makes perfect sense. So speaking of commercial noise, let's carry on with Facebook. So tell us about your Facebook page. This has 24,000 likes. You know, clearly you're doing a lot of things right here.
Well, and we're pretty proud of that, and the fact that we haven't purchased any of those. You know, you can go out and obviously use Facebook to purchase likes, if you will, and this is all homegrown from zero. But you know, I think part of what is the success is not only the pretty ladies and what we're doing, but the images that we're putting up there are high quality. It's unique to us. You know, so many of the Facebook pages out there are using other images, other people's images, and so you start to see the same material over and over again. And one of our rules is that we use our own content, and we put quality. You know, even though maybe what you see up there is not the very A shot of that photo mission, it's still a really good one, and so that it attracts a lot of attention. And then, of course, the other thing too is on my personal page and the Bombshell page, in growing this, we're using this to cross-market with other clients to help them launch and get their Facebook pages with some momentum. So we'll tag a lot of our posts to theirs so that their audience can see what's going on and get excited about it and go back and forth. And so it's a good cross promotion for like museums. We're doing that quite a bit for. Like I said, the Kavanaugh Flight Museum is one of our biggest ones right now. But it just seemed to work because I call this kind of the eye candy of the industry, the air show industry, the warbirds, and of course the pinup. That's the fun part, and we're using that to promote all of aviation because all pilots seem to like this stuff.
That's absolutely true. And that cross promotion, I think a lot of people will say, well, Facebook does seem to have a lot of junk on it, and I would say, let's look at your friends list, or let's look at the people who are contributing to your page. And if those are not the quality that you want to be associated with, then you want to go for quality rather than quantity. I mean, you can have a Facebook page that has 100 likes, and if they are the right 100 people, you could be doing a lot of good as far as building community, promoting each other's businesses amongst each other, creating those trusted connections, and showing some really good stuff. But here you got both the quantity and the quality.
Yeah, and then the way we approach it is we're not. Some people use Facebook as a blog. We actually don't post to try to engage people. We post an informational and an entertainment site. So we want people to come and visit it. We're okay for them to tag it, put it wherever they want. That's why we have our logos all over it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm not trying to get in arguments with people. I'm not trying to get into political discussions, whatever that is. That's not what this is about. This is an entertainment site where people can count on this page to bring them something new and fresh at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Absolutely. Right, and we have to zoom in on the brat. Can you tell us a little bit about, and I know photography is very different, or at least from the photographers that I've worked with, photography is very different for aircraft than it is for human beings. When you're doing a photo shoot of humans, you do a totally different light setup than if you're doing a photo shoot of aircraft, and you do both. So how do you manage that?
Well, that's a good point. When we first started doing the models with the aircraft, you have something that's 6 feet or 5 feet tall compared to this huge aircraft. So how do you promote that? Well, the calendar situation is where you have the top page is a full, nice, beautiful air-to-air of the aircraft, so you see it in its natural element, and then the shot of the girl with the aircraft is a close-up with a part of the airplane. And so we try to match with the outfits, the vintage outfits, with maybe a part of the plane that kind of works together. But we always like the soft curvy with the hard metal. It's kind of a neat dynamic, and I think that's what pinup was. One of the things that was attractive to pinup back in the day when it started. But now it can be a challenge to get a good picture of both. But the way we chose to do it in our calendar is to actually have the 2 images so that you get the best of both worlds.
I see. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And when you look at a Scott Slocum photograph, there's a certain look that you have, a certain set of lighting and things like that makes it look different than every other. So there's some common visual elements, and maybe you could not give away any trade secrets, but maybe help people develop their own branding from the point of view of what do you want to have in every picture, or what are some of the common elements that maybe they could include?
Well, you know, I teach aviation photography, and one of the key elements is to have the patience to work towards the right conditions to shoot the aircraft. For example, the one that you're looking at here, this was actually, if you were standing outside, you would say, well, it's dark. We need to go in. But there was just enough light in the sky to where the reflective aspect of this aircraft picked that up. And then we had the fire department come over, and the Addison Fire Department, and spray the ramp down to get some reflection. And so actually a lot of thought went into this, but the patience of shooting at the right time of day, which was at this point at 8:45, you know, it made all the difference between what a good shot and what people might say is a great shot here.
Right, right.
The other aspect of, you know, obviously I'm an artist, but we work very hard to bring out the emotion of the aircraft we're shooting. And I know that might sound hokey to people, but if you're shooting a jet versus a propeller airplane versus a helicopter, those aircraft have different emotions to different people, and we try to accentuate that in the video and the stills that we do, because when it comes down to it, I mean, yes, the utility is a big part of it, but it's also an emotional buy. And we're trying to appeal to that because our goal is to get you to look twice, 3 times at it and say, wow, that is neat, that's cool, I love it.
Absolutely. Well, the attention to detail definitely shows in that. So when you look for a background and other kinds of things, you know, you're looking for something that matches, you know, the era and the time and the space of that aircraft, and reflects that. It's not something that you're, you know, clearly using the circumstances of where you are and just trying to get the most efficient photo shoot.
That's right, and it's, you know, if I was to give advice to people out there, for example, who are selling aircraft, you know, take a little extra time to find a place on the field that allows you to have what we call a timeless background, or a uncluttered background, that, and also gives you contrast. If you see on this photo, the Mustang is much lighter than the background, and so that's the subject. So you ask yourself, well, what is this a picture of? This is a picture of a P-51 Mustang. It's not a picture of a P-51 in front of Cutter Aviation, although that could be a deal. Obviously, you know,
we'll talk about
did a shot, but I actually did a shoot one time when you guys were in McKinney, where we did the shoot in front of, at that time, the Cutter FBO, and we chose the side of the building because I think it was a dark color, if I remember right, with the red logo, and we put the King Air in front of it, and we actually made it look like it was raining, because with the props turning, with the engines turning, and it made it made a unique spray there, but it was in front of the FBO to make it look like you guys were there to kind of soothe the weather situation and take care of them, even though the weather was really bad outside, and it came across really, really neat. But we worked very hard on making sure we shot that in the right place so that the background didn't compete with the airplane, but still gave the impression of what you were trying to do.
Fantastic. Let me move on to another photograph, and this one, you know, clearly the worst sin in marketing is to be boring, and that is one thing that I think you are not. And you know, I think some people, you know, really veer away from controversy, and some people embrace it, and you know, the ones that embrace it seem to do better. And you know, I guess the World War II pinup tradition is still alive and well, and you know, the shots that you do are always, you know, classy to the point where you're not going to upset, you know, a female executive of a company or anything else.
Well, it's funny because you know, we do events, obviously, and I had one person come up to me and challenge me and said, well, would you let your daughter dress like that? And I turned to the April page and I said, well, here's my daughter right here in the calendar.
Right, exactly.
So, you know, it was actually my wife's idea to do this. I'm an aviation photographer by trade. We wanted something that we could do to sell B2C that's different, because there's a lot of other photographers out there doing Warbird and aviation calendars, obviously. So when we started this in 2007, it became something we felt like was innovative, and we wanted to bring back the nose art, the pinup from the past, the classiness of that, and obviously, we do that. We keep it where the taste is very, very conservative, but yet still shows the beauty of it, the aircraft and of the women. And if I'm challenged about it, I'm not afraid to say that I'm perfectly fine with it. My family's fine with it, and we believe that it's a very good attention getter for companies out there. We've had companies hire the girls to come out. We'll bring calendars and posters, and their customers will come and get that signed and take pictures, and it's a very good attention getter.
Right, exactly. And I think it's just a method of really embracing the past and being real clear about what you do and being proud of what you do and not being in any way upsetting or anything like that. And the companies that I have seen that do that well do that very well, or at least they sell a lot more than companies who try to be too conservative and boring. One more thing I wanted to highlight, the design, or the graphic design, and you'll notice this one almost looks lit in the same way that Brad is. You've got that high contrast. This is obviously a Scott Slocum, even though it's a drawing rather than a photograph.
Yeah, I mean, and actually the photo of the aircraft, the Bearcat there, is based on a photograph and that we had digitally recreated.
Okay.
Illustration. To your point.
Okay.
But when you design for shirts or posters or ads, you got to keep in mind colors and contrast and where it's going, your market. In this case, black is kind of in right now as far as the shirts, even though some people say, well, that's hot. Why would you have a black shirt? Well, it's thinning also, so people seem to like that. But, the colors of the aircraft, this is our Arena Racer, and helped us obviously with the design, but we wanted to convey action, and but yet be as simple in the way we printed it. If you were to examine the amount of colors we used on this, instead of just slapping a photograph on there, which could be 8 colors to make it look right, this is 4 colors. And that helps save in cost and time. And so that's, again, a part of the planning process of your design.
Right. Excellent. Great. Well, if we were to summarize, Scott, the things that you would advise for aviation companies, clearly I think quality and attention to detail come to the top of the discussion that we've had in the last few minutes. And
another key word I would use is synergy.
Okay.
Most of my clients I've worked with a long time, and it's because of the trust. When you're working around aircraft and around airports and air-to-air, they want to know that you're going to give them not only the quality, but you're going to do it in such a way that's safe, it's reliable, that they don't have to worry about all the other issues that deal with airplanes.
Yeah.
You're photographing these multi-million-dollar aircraft. You better know what you're doing. So, when I say synergy, work with somebody that you're comfortable with that's going to give you what you want creatively, but doing it in a manner that's going to make you comfortable too.
Right, with all that equipment and all that insurance.
Yep.
And everything else, right.
And of course, air-to-air photography is something we specialize in. And if you need that, then I definitely recommend you go to an experienced professional on that, because that opens up a whole lot of areas where there could be problems if somebody's not truly experienced with that.
Absolutely. Great. So, in this little graph talks about Facebook as opposed to, but I think this is true and probably a similar ratio for any advertising medium, whether it's trade shows or magazines or anything else. Of course, ABCI, our specialty is great stories and great text, and that hits your search engine optimizations. There's lots of great reasons to use that still, but in conjunction having great images, you are going to get half or less of the attention that you should be getting. And I think, I didn't find comparison that was believable as far as video goes, but I think that ratio probably holds true as well. If you can use a video in any way, it just increases the credibility of whatever other media you're using. If you use those,
well, if you think about the way even magazines are going, then with what they call rich content, when you have a magazine online, they're going to be looking for more video content, for example. And so and I think people are going to be used to seeing it more since bandwidths are increasing all across the country. It's going to be more utilized. So definitely that's going to be the wave of the future. Right.
I'm going to speed through this really quickly because we want to make sure we have a little bit of time for questions. I guess our action list is to use more photos and videos. Use at least one visual image for every important concept that you want to communicate. Use and reuse some of the same visual elements for consistency and to save you money. If you can create a set in your facility somewhere that you use for your photos or videos, sometimes that can really help you with both of those things. All right, so really quickly, I know we've got a question at least for each of you. Let's start with Anara.
Yeah, Anara, can you, the question, if I can put it together concisely here, is I know that you guys manage contests throughout the year, and do you use any kind of special software or videos or visual or anything, and how well does that work?
Well, I do not have anything to show you, but I can tell you about it. This is a system that we developed ourselves because it needed to be tailored to to our needs. What the system does, every time that we get somebody here, a customer coming to Qatar, we will tell them about the contest, and they will, gladly participate since it doesn't cost them anything else but just their purchases. They're glad to give you their information. So what we did with this system is that we made the phone number and/or the email address as the identifier for that customer. So every time that they come back, we can look them up by their phone number or email address. So if they are in the system already, by typing the phone number or email address, the system will repopulate their information automatically. That way, it saves us a lot of time. The only thing that we need to do at that point is just to make sure they're visiting us on the same aircraft, because we keep log of the kind of aircraft that they use in that particular visit. And the only thing, the other thing that we need to enter is the invoice number and the number of entries awarded. We have a table, so based on the number of gallons that they purchased, the system calculates automatically how many entries they're going to get. So once we enter the information, we save it, and it automatically sends in an email. It's a personalized email with their, greeting them with their name, telling them thank you for your visit. It tells you which location they visit. It tells you how many entries they were awarded, and it gives you the up-to-date number of entries that they have. So if it's a frequent customer and they have accumulated, 3, 4, 5 entries, it's going to tell them, thank you very much for coming to Qatar Aviation Phoenix this past April 14. You have been awarded 1 entry for our contest, and you have 5 entries to date. And it also it is signed by the customer service representative that helped them, and they get the email right away. So we try to enter that information as soon as the customer leaves. That way, by the time that they are on their airplane, by the time they are on their, in their car, they get our email. So it shows some professionalism, and that we're on top of our game.
Yeah, once again, attention to detail. And there may be other questions, but we'll contact you with them and hopefully distribute those with the materials from this class. And Scott, we've got one for Scott.
I think you probably answered it, but the person wants to know, can they hire the bombshells for a trade show booth?
Absolutely, that we can do that.
Fantastic. We'll make sure we have your contact information included with the materials and have the right links and so on for that. So thank you for that. I do need to mention that this is the Marketing Masterclass, and it is your secret weapon. It's probably the best kept secret in the aviation industry, where people learn from the smartest sales and marketing pros. You don't have time to make all the mistakes yourself. So we have this executive briefing each month, and just to remind you of the benefits that you have as a member, you get the recordings and transcripts of these, you get networking opportunities, call-in consulting hours to work on your own projects having to do with the topic that month, and also aviation service directory or ads and events, so you can list your ads and your events in that service directory, which helps your search engine optimization and also helps build those partnerships and collaborations that work really well. And our next session will be content marketing. What the heck do I write about? If you have to write press releases and articles on a regular basis, this can be an ongoing struggle for getting and using great ideas. It will be Wednesday, May 20th at 1 p.m. Mountain. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you, Scott and Genaro, one more time. We're really glad that you were here and shared some great information with our members.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time. Well, we'll see you a different time.
Have a great afternoon.
You know you could.